Jesse, they're starting the process just this afternoon. What do we expect to come out of it?
Yeah, I mean, so when the Volcker Rule was initially implemented, there was a high burden on banks to prove their trades weren't violating the Volcker Rule. The main thing that we're going to see under Trump is, and the Trump-appointed regulators, is shifting that so that there's more of a burden on regulators to prove traders are not in violation of the rule. So if you look at it sort of simply, the burden is now on banks, and the burden is going to shift more to regulators under some of these changes.
Yeah, exactly. Regulators and the Fed being only the first agency to vote on these out of 5. So how drawn out could the process be?
Yeah, I mean, there's many agencies involved in the Volcker Rule. It's a alphabet soup of DC agencies, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. They all have to submit their proposal for public comment. This is a particularly sort of controversial rule, so they're probably going to give banks, investor advocates, anti-Wall Street people like Elizabeth Warren months to weigh in on this. We might not see a final rule until near the end of the year or potentially even into 2019.
So, Jesse, assume we do come up with a final rule and they really do cut back on some of these presumptions and the requirement for documentation. Is this a matter of saving money for the banks because they won't have to have the documentation things, or are they actually going to change their behavior? Are they going to be venturing more of their own capital in investing, which is what the Volcker Rule was supposed to discourage?
I think that on the margins, there will be a little bit ramping up of risk for the reason that, as it stands now, banks have huge compliance departments where, they sort of think there's these gray areas where, well, we don't think this violates the Volcker Rule, but let's not take the risk. Or while the trading opportunity exists, the due diligence they have to do, the time it takes to analyze whether that trade might violate the Volcker Rule, they're just like, nah, let's not do it. It's going to take too long to do all that work. With some of these changes, they might be able to say more in real time, we think we're okay. We don't think regulators are going to challenge this. So on the margins, I think you are going to see a little ramp up in risk for sure.